Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of ZB's Horsepower Talk. As always, I'm ZB, Zack Brown. Joined with me, as always, is former 410 Sprint Car crew chief mechanic, my dad, Jeff Brown. A lot to go over. NASCAR just finished up in Michigan after a rain delay from Sunday, and a lot of racing and high limit and sprint car action from this past weekend. And IndyCar had racing, NHRA had some racing, and we'll be previewing all that, and we'll be giving our 5 tracks that we think will best fit IndyCar that are primarily NASCAR tracks. So a lot to go over today. Let's dive right in, like we always do, into NASCAR at Michigan. Tyler Reddick gets the win, and that's the one everybody said avoid in the sports books, and he proves everybody wrong, which I did say. I didn't make any sense to avoid him. I expected Toyotas to be fast. It was a good race. It was a lot of passing at Michigan. It was a slick race today, probably because it was the middle of the day, so that might have made it better racing. Cars were spinning out. Good drivers like Larson, Truex were just getting loose and spinning out on their own. Cars flipped on their roof. Luckily, nobody was hurt. Pretty crazy action in Michigan this weekend.
Yeah, unfortunately, with the rain delay, and this is where NASCAR and TV are stupid. They're starting these races at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, middle of summer. It's gonna rain, especially in Michigan. If they'd have started that thing at 1 o'clock, they'd have got most of that race in. So unfortunately, I didn't see any of it. So I tuned in, saw Larson crash for a minute when I was at lunch, and I was like, well, that was enough of that. We're under yellow, and
Yeah,
I didn't see anything, or the end or anything.
Well, strategy came into a factor towards the end when you wanted to pit to get tires, to get fuel, how much you wanted to stretch it. Byron was the one that pit early and was trying to work that to his advantage. He got a second place finish out of it, but his tires just weren't enough to keep up with the Reddicks at the end. He had enough fuel, but just the tires wore out just enough, and Reddick drove away. He was fastest at the end, so credit to Reddick. There was a late race caution, and Reddick was pissed off because he's had a few races taken away from for something stupid like that happening. But he prevails, gets his second win of the year, and definitely getting some momentum heading into the playoffs. And I believe he is just like 2 points behind. He may actually be the points leader now for the regular season.
He is the points leader.
Yeah, and that's one I would never have guessed to win the regular season championship. So we got 2 races left. You got Daytona, and you have Darlington left in the regular season. So
a couple of crapshoots there.
Definitely Daytona, and then when you get into Darlington, you might see people just throw some haymakers to try to make the playoffs because that's the last chance you'll have. And Daytona, there's going to be some cars' last chance to be able to get a win because that some cars there's not, like Austin Dillon and cars like Carson Hocevar, who actually finished top 10 this week. We got that
He's
one
been
right.
running very well.
And then you have like Harrison Burton.
I was going to say, expect the Wood Brothers car to be fast this week. They only saw it at Daytona.
You just never know at Daytona what could happen. Is it going to rain there this weekend?
It's supposed to.
Okay, well, that's par for the course for Florida.
Yeah, because the rain chances are low until Friday. Then it's going to be 60-70% chance of rain. So.
Well, you should have stuck with your gut feeling on the Xfinity pick that you had because Allgaier did get the win at Michigan.
I saw that.
And Travis, damn, I say it every time. Carson Kvapil, he had a good run, and then he wrecked at the last lap, I believe, and he hit the wall and spun around and stuff. But he had a good run going, so that was another impressive race by him. I still like to see Corey Day, one of these big tracks, see how he would do on a big track like this. That's probably coming before long. Truck Series were off, but they're going, which is weird. They're not doing a triple header for the Truck Series this weekend at Daytona. They're actually going to be going to Milwaukee. We'll get into that in a second. News from NASCAR this week: the Clash goes to Bowman Gray Stadium next year, and that's way better than being at the Coliseum. At least it's an East Coast based thing. It'll be a little chilly, and that's going to add an element.
I was going to say February 2nd in Winston-Salem. Think about it. We raced up in Pennsylvania end of February.
Yeah, it's
sure probably going to be a hell of a lot nicer in Central North Carolina in February.
That just adds an element that they'll just have to work through. It's going to be a beyond sold out crowd because I don't think it holds that many people.
I don't think so either.
They might have to add some stands. They might be doing that as we speak right now and updating some of the things. The track is rough, and that's a good thing. It's
make it difficult for these guys.
Well, they raced a lot of late model races, and there might be like an ARCA East that races there as well. So, but trivia early on, so this ties into Bowman Gray. what year was the last year the NASCAR Cup Series raced on Bowman Gray Stadium?
Oh, wow. I wouldn't even have any idea. Probably somewhere around 74, 75.
Close. It was 1971, the last time the Cup
Okay, I was
Series
going to say it
raced.
had to be in the 70s.
Yeah, and actually, I think it was abandoned for a while, and then they finally brought it back for the Cars Tour and some other late models and some modified races and things like that. So it's I like that move way better. It's better than building a whole freaking race car track
Yeah,
every single year. It's
and
more
the
cost
cars
efficient.
they got to travel in what, an hour to get
Yeah.
there.
Oh yeah. The hour,
I
hour and
mean,
a half.
instead
It's
of
not,
a 2 day trip, that was just idiotic going to California.
and it's neat. I'm still all for them changing it every single year where they want to go for this, and I like them.
Or at least every couple years.
Well, I like them going to tracks like this. It helps revitalize them, and hopefully it brings a points race to there eventually, and maybe it'll be an all-star race, and they'll make Wilkesboro a points race.
Could very well be.
So a lot of cool things that NASCAR came out. I think the schedule comes out this week as well for 2025, the full schedule. So I'm going to take a wild guess that Daytona 500 is the first race,
Yeah.
and I'm
Phoenix
sure.
is
And
the last race.
well, they said Phoenix is the last race. They already announced that. Unfortunately, I wish they would change that around. Give it give it a 2-year run cycle through different tracks. I still like Homestead as the final race. That was
Yeah,
always a
that
good
usually puts
race.
on a good show. Well, so
Um,
does Phoenix.
yeah, but I still like the bigger
They
tracks to
want
be.
NASCAR wants a West Coast track so they can have the
Well,
race later.
Phoenix is one of the nicest cities in America, and it's known for its nightlife, party life, people spending money, and have
Well,
just.
if that's the case, take it to Vegas.
I did argue that. I think we argued that before. Talked about that, and yeah, that would be good. Nashville, that would be good. That's what
There's
IndyCar's going to be finishing it up, and there's more rednecks that watch. I don't know. We saw well, well, that might just be Indiana, but yeah, yeah. I was gonna say there's more rednecks than in NASCAR than there are IndyCar, but we saw firsthand. I don't know. It
yeah,
might be a pretty close
uh,
tie.
yeah. The fans
Um,
at Indianapolis would disagree.
Yeah. All right. So let's give our power rankings heading into Daytona, and let's discuss Daytona. And I guess we'll
Oh
give a
shoot, I
quick
didn't
pick.
change my power rankings. Go ahead, talk about
Probably
mine.
not a whole lot to go, but mine didn't change a whole lot. I added a couple people entering into my power rankings though. So at number 5 this week, runner-up finish at Michigan. I think he's starting to steer in the right direction again. And he was your pick. You were really close. I think that you'll see him start going on a run. William Byron is at number 5, entering back into my power rankings. At number 4, he was solid throughout the race. I think he got spun out or was on the wrong end of a strategy call. But Ryan Blaney's my number 4. I think he dropped down 1. And the winner of Michigan at my number 3 spot, Tyler Reddick. He enters back into my power rankings. It's hard to not put him in there anymore. I still kept my top 2 because these two were fast all day. Larson just crashed. I'm still going to keep him where had him last week. We'll see what happens at Daytona. I'm going to take a guess it's going to be back-to-back weeks of wrecking because that's what he does at Daytona. But Larson's at my number 2 right now, and my number 1 driver still is Denny Hamlin. After having some issues at Michigan, still finishes in the top 10, the most consistent driver right now. But as we did say, Tyler Reddick is the points leader in the regular season with 2 races to go. So that's my power rankings heading into Daytona. Are you ready to go for yours?
Yeah, so we're pretty close. So I don't really have what I had from last week, but not a whole lot changed, just like yours. At number 5, I think I moved him down a little bit. I do have Chase Elliott at 5. At 4, I got this week's winner of Tyler Reddick. Moved him in. He wasn't even in the list last week, so I moved him up to 4. Uh, Blaney actually moved. Actually, I think he came up a spot. So kept Blaney at 3, and my top 2 are the same as yours. I dropped Larson down to number 2 because he, just Larson's fast, but a lot of times he kind of puts himself in bad positions. So we'll drop him down 1 to number 2, and Denny Hamlin, who actually did spin out on Sunday and doesn't hit anything.
Yeah.
But he right now, I think he's the guy to beat.
Well, we say that every year. He'll get on
Well,
top.
I'm all for him choking, but
He'll get the top. He'll get to Phoenix. I think I've already predicted that, and he will finish either second or third. That's just going to be what happens. That's just traditionally what happens with Denny Hamlin. That's every year they're going to be like, "Oh, is this the year to do it?" I promise that's going to be the storyline heading into the playoffs. Oh, is this the year Denny Hamlin gets to do it? And it's going to be the
Going to
storyline
be
every
like the
single
Buffalo
round.
Bills of the NASCAR.
It's quite literally that. Actually, probably closer to the Cowboys lately, but yeah. Well, never winning. Yeah, I guess Buffalo. Um. All right, let's preview Daytona, and we'll do a quick preview on with the Truck Series at Milwaukee. But Daytona is probably the wildest of wild cards, and
Is it Saturday night or is it Sunday night?
you give me 1 second.
I
I
didn't
got the
think to
schedule
check. I
pulled
didn't
up.
think to check the schedule on that one.
I think it is Saturday night. Yeah, Saturday night. Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I figured, which is good because if it rains, then you got Sunday to make up, and then that's not that big of a deal.
Well, it won't rain. You're not coming.
No, we've already established that, and that was just a rain
Hey,
out.
what? Wish I could get last minute tickets Saturday evening. But hey, it looks good.
Saturday will
I can be there in 90 minutes.
Saturday evening, not too bad at Daytona. When you go to Sunday afternoon to make up in August, it's the death heat.
Yeah.
Especially those
When
stands,
we were
just
there,
straight
it
up
rained out when you
aluminum.
came down. It was hotter than
Yeah. So anything we can you can expect the unexpected. There's going to be a massive crash at some point, at least one.
At least
The
one. Probably
Xfinity
towards the
Series
end.
goes here. Yeah, Xfinity Series goes here too. You can expect crashes there. They had a different package at Michigan where it was pretty much like speedway racing that you would see. They were in a pack for most of the race. I guess it was a lower horsepower package that they had, and they had no choice but to draft. It wasn't too bad. It was kind of in between both Daytona and like a traditional Michigan race, so I kind of liked it. Gives them a preview of what to expect. Tyler Reddick, the winner of Michigan, he's won at Talladega this year. Is that one that he could possibly be up there? I expect those two cars to be working well because Bubba is
Bubba's
traditionally a very good speedway
racer.
And that's a race that he has highlighted to get a win and get locked in the playoffs, barring he left hook somebody into the grandstands like certain people do. But it's really anybody that
Michael McDowell could easily win this race.
The books will come out later tomorrow on Tuesday, and there will be favorites. You can't put a favorite into a Daytona. You just don't know. You'll see likes of Justin Haley be running up there.
Michael
I'm sure
McDowell.
you'll see. McDowell.
Corey
And
LaJoie runs good. I mean, there's some
Todd
sleeper
Gilliland's going to
picks
be
that
up there.
Yeah, Austin Dillon goes good there. Won there a couple years ago.
It's going to be people that you don't usually see running up front, and it's should be pretty good. You'll see them ride, but I like them riding side by side, 3x3, better than they just ride on the high line for 100 laps and then they start going. That's better, at least. At least
Yeah,
adds
when
like
you're
some
single
element.
file, you're not going to make any passes.
No, but at least if they're side by side, somebody slightly screws up, you smack into somebody and something happens. So it's a little bit better, at least for our perspective. The drivers might not like it as much.
You get the energy building from one of the lanes and kind of gets a little bit of a run. At least it makes it a little bit interesting.
Now, then the question is now, is this finally a speedway race where Larson can win because he has the absolute worst luck at those tracks? I mean, he can do everything right
and a couple laps to go.
Yeah, he can do every single thing right in him, and he will still end up in a wreck. I mean, he's led the Daytona 500 and been in second place with 2 to go or whatever it was, still gets in a wreck. He's been leading, still gets in a wreck. Been back of the pack to make sure he avoids wrecks, still gets in a wreck. So he's tried every strategy. So we'll see what happens there. I think for the most part, Hendricks will be pretty quick, like they usually do. They'll probably be qualifying up front.
Yeah.
They're really good at qualifying.
Joe Gibbs cars are always fast.
Joe Gibbs cars will start at probably about 20th to 25th, and they will race better than they usually qualify. And the Fords will be mixing in and out. You'll see Keselowski up there, and you'll see Chris Buescher working with him. That'll be good. Keselowski is the best pusher there is in this type of racing. He will aggressively push you, but he does it in a good way, though. Some people like Joey will try to push you into the corner, and that doesn't really work. Brad will get you about right before the corner, then he'll let off. He's learned a little bit, but I think it's going to be a pretty wild weekend. And then you got Milwaukee for the Truck Series. I think this might be where they start their playoffs.
I believe you're right. Yeah, 1 mile flat track, kind of I would think for trucks this would probably be an easier one to drive it. You wouldn't think you should have
it's
as
wide.
much.
It's a
Yeah,
wide
it's
track.
flat. There's no banking. It's not very fast. Although
But
to get by somebody, you might have to kind of nudge them out of the way. So that means their
crashes.
nudge means I'm just going to drive you into the fence because
Yeah,
they're
they'll Austin Dillon. The IndyCar series has a doubleheader next week in Milwaukee. So,
yeah. Now that's a good track for Indy cars.
oh yeah, I mean it's a good track. I like Milwaukee. It's not. I mean it's pretty similar to Gateway. It's a similar layout. It's not as. I don't think it's as big as Gateway.
No, it's only
Gateway's
a
a
mile.
yeah. Gateway's
Milwaukee's
like a mile. Yeah, Gateway's like a mile and a third or something.
mile and a
Something like
quarter.
that. So uh, I still expect the last couple races have been pretty similar racing styles between IRP and Richmond. So I think you'll see the same five drivers contend for the win. Let's just get our Milwaukee pick, then we'll give our Daytona picks. So who's your Truck Series pick at Milwaukee?
I'm mixing it up a little bit. I got Grant Enfinger for this week.
I'm going. I was going to do three in a row, picking Christian Eckes because it's been not too far off. But I'm going to go with the other guy. I'm going with Corey Heim on this one.
Okay.
All right, Xfinity Series. Like we were saying, it's probably going to be. I think it's going to be heavy on Chevrolet up front between the RCR, mainly Austin Hill, and then Junior's cars. So, who's your pick for Xfinity?
I picked him last week and he was decent. So I'm going to do it again this week. Got Austin Hill.
I'm going to go a slight wild card, but it's still an RCR car. I'm going to go with this teammate, Jesse Love.
Okay.
He's
He
been
was really
fast,
good
and
there in
he's
ARCA.
won it. I think he's won a Daytona before
In ARCA?
in the ARCA series, and I think he was leading the beginning of the year like a lot earlier on this year. So I expect him to be doing pretty well too. I'm done picking Allgaier and all of them because they crash every single time I pick them. So yeah, that's all right. The Cup Series going into Daytona, setting up for Darlington, but a lot of these drivers feel like this is their chance to win. Who is your pick for this massive race?
Not a new driver going to get into the chase this week. So I got Chase Elliott for the win. And Mom's pick would put a new driver in there. She picked Bubba Wallace.
I have a new driver getting in as well. He's never won the Daytona 500, but he's won the nighttime race at Daytona a few times. RCR driver again. RCR gets a sweep at Daytona. Kyle Busch.
That would be pretty cool. Never thought I'd say that.
I thought he had a chance to win at Michigan. I thought he kind of he took a chance with two tires, came out with the lead, and then his tires just fell off too much. He wasn't going to be able to keep it, but he had a shot. He was probably hoping for some sort of caution earlier than that, but he was fast. He was at least not fighting for
Maybe they're
30th.
finding a little bit of speed after being just sort of humiliated for most of the season.
And the appeal process is not done yet, so they could win their appeal. The Austin Hill has not finished his appeal process. It goes through Wednesday, and we'll see if they win the appeal. I doubt it. I doubt they win the appeal at all. They're not going to let him get back in the playoffs with that dangerous move. If it was just the Joey Logano, he probably wouldn't even been.
It wouldn't even have been an issue.
No.
Crashing two.
Well, mainly
they'll give you one.
Well, maybe left hooking. That's the big one.
But
still,
that's just so dangerous. He took,
They actually had the telemetry calculated on Denny Hamlin, and that's the hardest hit anybody's had in that type of angle in that new generation car.
Oh, wow.
So luckily he was okay. All right, heading into NHRA, just to recap what happened in Minnesota this weekend. I would never have guessed any of this. So I was just, no. The top fuel was Justin Ashley. I mean, I probably could have picked that one more than the other one. Then the funny car was Blake Alexander. Would never guessed that one.
I thought Matt Hagan. Yeah, Blake, that was like Blake's fourth win, I think, in
fourth
funny car.
Win all time. Yep. And Dallas Glenn wins over Mason McGahee, and he was the 16th qualifier. So that was to get into the finals. That was not Dallas Glenn, Mason McGahee, and he was number 16 to get into the finals.
Oh yeah, it was him.
There
was I don't remember who it was, but there was a driver from Kannapolis was running. He had to go up, but he was in the semifinals. I can't remember his name, but he had to go up against Greg Anderson.
You mean Dallas Glenn?
No.
No. You mean the quarterfinals? Because Greg Anderson wasn't in that. Greg Anderson was just in the first round. He got eliminated first round.
No, I thought he went up. Well, it wasn't. And this guy went pretty far. Again, I don't remember his name.
No, because Jeg beat Greg.
He's got a big old bushy beard. I'm like, yep, he's from Kannapolis.
Jerry Tucker. That sounds like a Kannapolis guy. I don't see anybody that won that would be from Kannapolis. They're all just their normal drivers. Oh, there was a guy, Chris McGay. I guess that's his brother or something.
That's his dad.
His dad. Okay, well, that's cool that I didn't realize. But now Pro Stocks, now we really don't know who to pick ever. So
that one's equal. I mean, that one's very, the Quadra brothers or family, or they're getting the Fords running a little bit better.
Coughlin's are running now really well. Both of them.
I picked Troy and he sucked.
Yeah, well, yeah, we weren't close on any of our picks. Nope. All right, well, that does for NHRA. They're not racing this weekend, so they got this weekend off. They'll be back in action next week. Next, talk about IndyCar, and this was a crash fest at St. Louis.
I'll say.
That just crashed. This, I thought I was watching a truck series. I didn't expect this much crash. I mean, they were racing like they had freaking bumpers and side panels and everything. I'm like, you guys can't do that.
Because they had, I'm really bad with names, but it was a young kid that was battling Willpower for like second or third. And Willpower,
yeah.
He just came down and just said no, and that guy went spinning. He was pissed.
Yeah,
late race restart drama. They all said Newgarden sped up and brake checked a couple times, and they were all driving over each other's wheels. And
that one like flew in the air on the final restart. Yeah. I'm like, what is absolutely going on? But I mean, you picked it right. I mean, Penske
we actually did spin.
Everybody spun. Everybody spun. My guy exploded, I think, that I had. Pato just did not have a good race. But it was still exciting racing. It's not what you called. We did not. I thought there would be long green flag runs. I don't think there really was any.
No, it makes it. I mean, it's not good for people if they don't want crashes or whatever. But it does keep them from getting out that huge lead. It's
one heck of a crowd, like we predicted too. It was packed.
The main grandstand had people, but there was nobody in any of the other stands. So I mean, NASCAR still
they might not have sold all of them. They might not have sold all of them.
Probably not, but they still draw 3 or 4 times the amount of Indy cars. But I would have went and seen that one.
They said if we were close,
that'd have been a fun track to go to, especially with the action going on there.
And then I think that could do a big preview of what you could see come at Milwaukee. Very similar style racing that you'll see, flat track.
Milwaukee should be a little bit slower. Like I said, there's no banking.
Yeah. I mean, there's slight banking.
Yeah, there's not.
It's like a little. But they're heading completely different type of racetrack. They're going to Toronto this week. This IndyCar is going back to back to back. All what?
Portland.
Toronto. Same thing. It's basically Canada. Portland. I don't know why I wrote down Toronto. No. Yeah, Portland. And Xfinity raced there earlier this year. It's a very narrow track, so you can kind of explain a little bit more about Portland.
It's a 12-turn, 1.964. They call it a natural road course. So I don't really know what that means, that they just build it to kind of follow the terrain more or less. It's fairly flat. It's narrow, like you said, but there is multiple passing zones. There's a couple of real tight turns, some chicanes, and we're up in Oregon. Weather could be an issue. I don't remember how much rain the Indy cars will run in the rain, how heavy it can rain, so that could be an issue as well.
Yeah, and there's other series racing in Oregon this weekend too. The High Limit, they're in Oregon. That's that one track we were mentioning off the air.
Yeah, Monday
too. And but I think you're still going to see the same people that you've been seeing up front. I think you've got the clear-cut winners now. That in IndyCar, it's kind of seeing who's the best of the best. I believe it was the last road course we went to. Scott Dixon couldn't even get it fired. It would not. It like shut off in the right before the beginning. And of course, I picked him And I'm not doing that again. I'm not going to jinx him this time, but he should be up in the mix for it. I mean, we'll give our pick here in a second. You can go with the definitely favorite is going to be Alex Palou. He wins every other road course, it seems like. But we will see. Getting close to the end, so they're going to start taking more and more chances to get some more points because you're getting to the final little bit of racing. Next month,
Yeah,
there's only
the
like
give and take's going to be.
I think it's like six races left. Yeah, I think it's about 6 races left. That's including a doubleheader at Milwaukee. So, all right, who's your pick for Portland?
I'm going to stay with Team Penske this week. I'm not going to pick Joseph Newgarden, so I got the number. I think it's the number 3 car, Scott McLaughlin.
I'm going with the young kid that's been impressing people on these, and I've been wanting to pick him, and I'm finally going to do it. Colton Herta.
Yeah, he won Toronto. I think.
See, that's what I did. Yeah, that's why I got it wrong. But he's been impressing. He's definitely been impressive on that.
Impressive.
Is he a rookie?
No,
or is he like he's just a young kid? I know he was like one that's not really usually relevant, I guess. And then they were like, oh, this guy. High Limit. They were racing a lot this week, and they also raced a lot last week. Let's just quick recap on all this stuff. Thunderbolt was a great race. Actually, they all were.
They were all pretty good races between Outlaws and High Limit.
Thunderbolt, that was the only race Larson raced in. Of course, he won. So his historic streak is continuing. He passed his brother-in-law to win it. So
yeah, there was some drama. There was a crash. Larson wasn't directly involved in it, and
he spun.
I don't like that rule.
From what I was reading, if you're spinning to avoid a wreck when there's already a caution thrown, you still get your position back. Yeah, from what I understood.
But he stopped on the track. The two that actually crashed did not stop. That's my issue on it.
Probably a little gray area.
Yeah, it was, and I've been where we were running and there was a crash and then there was nowhere to go but stop. We weren't involved in it, but we still had to go to the rear because we stopped on the track. The red flag was already out.
This is also a different series too than what is it. So the Outlaw one might have been a different rule, but this is High Limit. It's also Larson Series.
Yeah.
Oh. But it's still a good race. It was good that he was mixing.
They say that was Jacob Allen. Do they do that for him or a local racer? You know what I mean?
So, I don't know. They need to be consistent now. They need to watch out for it. And then they went to King Speedway where Sunshine gets the win.
That was a little surprising. I figured the California guys would dominate.
Well, Sunshine's starting to make up a little bit of ground, and the regular championship points, I believe he still has the points lead for the
midweek.
The other one. Yeah, that one. The money series. That's the word I was looking for. But the regular championship, Brad Sweet's still about 90 points ahead or something. And then they went to Placerville and James is that right? Yeah. Jason McFadden is the win. Yeah.
Yep. Drank out of the shoe.
Yeah, the shoey.
That's nasty.
But the alcohol cleans it, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But no, really random was Justin Sanders getting a runner spot there, so that was kind of and then some local racers. Andy Forsberg got a top 5.
I was gonna say those. It's a lot
Casey
like Pennsylvania. The California racers on their own tracks are pretty darn good there.
Well, Casey got 6th. So I mean, shoot, you might
another West Coast guy.
You might see him do all right at Oregon because that's probably gonna be the closest they race to. Well, I don't know if they race in the Seattle area, but yeah, it's gonna probably be the closest they get to his place in Enumclaw.
True.
All right, so they are heading 3 nights in a row, which you don't usually
technically see. 4. There's a 360 race Wednesday that Larson is going to be running.
Well, it's not, okay, High Limit exclusive.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying Larson is entered for the Wednesday night. Like he kept saying Larson's running Wednesday. I'm like, they don't start till Thursday.
Oh, that means
it's the 360 race.
Yeah, 360 guys probably like, son of a bitch. Why? And that's going to feel like he's just.
So I'm going to guess the other 3 nights are going to be piloted by probably the coolest name in sprint cars, Jock Goodyear.
Oh yeah.
That's a
Well,
bad
I
race.
think he would race at least Thursday.
Who's that?
Larson.
Larson?
Larson.
They said just Wednesday.
Oh, he's not even racing in a 410?
Well, they got to be in Daytona. They raced
Friday.
a day earlier, so.
I think it's Friday, though, is all the stuff.
Well, I don't know. I'll tell you.
Well, now that I need to change my pick for night one, don't I?
Might have sponsorship obligations.
Yeah, that's true. They already gave him a pass on the whole Indy 500 thing, so he might have to make up for all that stuff. All right, well, 3 nights in Silver Dollar. Go ahead, and now I need to just do a quick wild card change on this, but it's not that big of a deal. Go ahead with your 3 nights in Silver Dollar.
So first night, Thursday night, I got the same method I had last week. So I got Corey Day first night, Rico Abreu for Friday night, and Saturday night is 100,000 to win. Brad Sweet.
See, I had Larson night one because, well, I don't read. So,
Yeah, I was going to pick Larson for the night one.
But since he's not going to, if he's not there, if he is there, I'm still sticking with my Larson because I have it wrote down. But if he's not there, which sounding like he won't be, my pick for this one's going to be Sunshine, the points leader. Night 2, I have Rico Abreu. So I guess we both got Rico for night 2. But my third day, I have the young kid. I've got Corey Day. He's going to win one of these races.
Well,
just a matter
that'd
of
be
which
a big one for
wins.
Corey Day. 100
Just
grand.
Just a
It's like
matter of which,
$100,070 or something random.
yeah, it's just a matter of which race he wins. But he's going to win one of these Silver Dollar races.
But
It's
yeah,
just a track that
this is a
suits
neat
him.
little track though. It's quarter mile high bank. That's just fun on sprint cars. Those guys are running the shit out of those things, the wheel those things to get
Yeah,
past.
that's
You don't have
why.
a whole lot of, not like Williams Grove where you're sitting up down the straightaway. You ain't got time to think. You better just dive her on in there and go.
That's why it'll be interesting to see what Corey Day does.
The tracks out in California are really nice surface. It's that usually that darker clay that just makes a good racing surface.
Well, the Monday race they have, and I don't know if that's going to be considered the midweek money or not, because they do race again next Wednesday as
Yeah, it
well.
didn't seem to be because it's
But this is the Douglas
only
County dirt.
11,000 to win.
Yeah, this is the Douglas County dirt track. So,
Yeah.
like, this is, you could tell this was going to be a very small town type track that they were going to. And I saw some sprint car action, look like some local guys that raced there,
Yeah,
but it
it's
looks like a fun little tiny
Dark
track.
Series or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's just a 310, so just a little bit bigger than a quarter. It looks like it gets slicked to a curve out on this one. So I don't really know much about it. It could be I got a kind of a surprise pick on this one. I'm just trying to mix it up a little bit.
All right.
So I picked all West Coast guys. We're going to go East Coast guy on this one. I got Brent Marks.
Okay.
Winning in Oregon.
Well, I'm just going out on a limb and going Brad Sweet on this one.
Okay.
I do want to pick James McFadden, but last time I picked him, I think he flipped 14 times off the track and he never wanted to race again and just hated me and all that stuff. It's just, yeah. All right. Finishing up before we get in our 5 tracks for IndyCars to go to, Outlaws are racing just 2 nights, so nothing crazy this week. They're at River City and then Red River Valley, so it sounds like yeehaw, hell yeah type stuff they're going to. Still not like the Big O, but
just you'd still think these tracks would be like red clay, just with the name in it. Just
they're not. No, they've raced at River City. This is pretty much an annual thing that they race. The drivers must like this. They must have a pretty good crowd that goes there. So that's the first night.
That's another 3/10 of a mile track with the corners look really, really wide. Like, the outside on the cushion was only 3/4 of the way up in the corner. So it's a wide track. I don't know if they run a lot of, street stock type things where you need the wider track. But it looked, just looking at the replay, it was fast around the top. It was fast around the bottom. I think that's going to be another good night for racing. Look, there was lots of passing.
Yeah, I mean,
opportunities to pass anyway.
Yeah, they had some good racing at the last race. Carson Macedo, Carson Macedo got a night 1 win, so he's
it's
getting
been a
back
while
into the
since
winners.
He's picked up a win.
Yeah, so maybe he's got to go. He's actually good at these 2 tracks traditionally. So, and then And I got my pick right for the second Outlaw night last time was Donnie Schatz. So there's that. I'm actually about to pull up the thing. So the points. So while we're doing that, go ahead with your pick for River Cities, and we'll talk about Red River Valley.
So River Cities, I got point leader on this one. I got David Gravel. Kind of hard to go against him.
That's what I was actually going to look up, just what the points gap is now. It's a little bit further now. It's 106. David Gravel's extending it, and it's, I mean, realistically now.
Even Gravel has problems and crashes. He still gets back out. And
yeah, and still Sheldon 7 wins up there, the second most in the entire World of Outlaws field, and just cannot. Just cannot. If he doesn't win, he crashes or
crashes.
something.
Yep, he's like Stroker Ace.
But
I had directions from Mom not to pick Sheldon Hodenshield any this week.
Sorry about it, but River City, I've got Sheldon Hodenshield.
I guess you can. I'm not allowed to. Every time I pick him, he crashes.
Yeah, well, I picked Sheldon for this one. He actually got a runner-up finish last year. He last lap pass or late race pass by Logan Schuchart last year. So expect Logan Schuchart to be pretty good here. Expect the Shark Racing to be good this whole weekend. I think you'll see Jacob Allen be pretty good with the high limits. I think he's going out there, maybe, possibly. We'll see. This is actually a long drive. They might. Actually, I'm thinking about it, they might not. Red River Valley. Talk about that track.
So that one's in Fargo, North Dakota, which is hometown for Donnie Schatz. And just looking at this one looked like it was a super nice racetrack. The surface, dark clay, wide track, lots of passing. A little bit bigger than this one. This is the 3/8 track, so it's going to have a little more higher speed. Not going to be the bull ring type racing. It looks like it gets slick, but it's sort of the same all over. So I think there's going to be a multiple grooves in racing surface on that one. Looked like a super nice surface. I was impressed with it.
Those Dakota tracks, they take pride in their stuff.
Yeah, it looked good. Like I said, I don't know, you see Red River Valley, I'm picturing to look
Texas.
like or BAPS or something like that with the red clay. Just it's not. It's that dark brown or almost black clay. So which I think, like I said before, that makes a good dirt track surface.
So are you going with the hometown guy for this one?
I am going with the hometown guy. I'm going to pick with Donnie Schatz on this one.
I'm going with the points leader. I'm going with David Gravel.
Okay.
We'll see. I'm rooting for Schatz to start closing this gap. I just want to see somebody make a run and make it really interesting heading into the World Finals in a few months. Because when they already win getting into the World Finals, it's like, oh, that's not as fun. But when there's a chance that somebody could take it over, that'd be pretty cool in the last race.
Yeah, and hopefully they don't, Outlaws the only one, and in High Limit don't have a playoff series.
Yeah.
So, and hope they don't do that.
No, I think that what they've been doing, it's been forever, and I think it still works. People still go to the things, and it's still getting great ratings. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. There's only 12 Outlaws that are primary Outlaws anyways, so it's not really. It'd be kind of pointless to do all that. Because then you're going to get one driver that races once in a blue moon, then he somehow wins, and then just. I am saying this though: if Larson raced this full time, he would be easily the championship. Well, he probably would have had it in the bag. He probably would have.
Well, as of late, but beginning of the year, for whatever reason, they were really bad. So whatever they found was
Yeah. All right. Final segment right here. The 5 tracks that we'd like to see IndyCar race that NASCAR currently races at. So IndyCar and NASCAR have similar.
So does it have to be a current NASCAR track?
You can do whatever you want. Now, I did ovals. I did mainly ovals, but I will honorably mention this track. I'll give mine, but I want to honorably mention the Roval because I think that, the Roval's eventually going to go away.
That's the one I wanted to add.
Yeah, the Roval,
I think the Roval would be fun.
The Roval's going to go away. That's already going to happen. I expect that to be out of the NASCAR schedule before long. But they still race like IMSA there. They have other events that go on the Roval. So why not bring IndyCar in there? They could almost do a doubleheader with NASCAR that weekend if they wanted to.
They have ran the Oval at Charlotte, and I think
that's when they killed a guy.
Yeah, so it would. they wouldn't be near as fast.
No.
And being they don't have anything that stands around like they used to.
And you can modify it to make it more favorable for those type of cars too. The way
since then they've added better catch fencing and different things.
Well,
so
I meant the actual layout of the track. They can change it to because they changed it for IMSA as well. So I'd like to see that. That'd be pretty cool.
I'd agree. There was one I wanted to change, and I couldn't remember what I wanted to pick. It was the
yeah, and I just did ovals here, so because we were talking about them racing on ovals last week, and these are ovals I'd like to see them implement. And there's no order I really have here. You could pick whatever you want. So I'm not even going to say number. So one of the tracks I have on here is Richmond. I think that would be a good race. I think that would be, and I'm doing ones they haven't raced on before. I'm not saying like Dover. I mean, I'd love to see Dover come back again for IndyCar.
They would never do it with these cars.
Probably not, especially with the hybrid that you can have in some of the races where it makes them drastically faster for a little bit. But Richmond, I think, will be a great race. I like this one, a smaller version of Dover. It might work. I like Bristol. That'd be kind of cool. They'd be pretty fast there, but I think it would work. Why not? This one is actually a really realistic track that they could definitely go to is New Hampshire.
That would be. That's a good pick. I didn't think about that one.
Very similar, like it'd be a way better race than NASCAR puts on.
Yeah, I would think so.
Be similar to like Milwaukee or St. Louis, that type of racing. Another one, Larson did testing here, Phoenix. Simple enough, race at Phoenix. That'd be a really good race.
They used to.
They did?
Yes.
Well, see, I didn't know that, so that's okay. Well, bring it back.
I'm sure they did.
And I have one big track on here. I have a mile and a half. They race at Texas, so I like this one. Las Vegas.
Yeah, when they killed Dan Weldon there, that's probably why they won't go back to that one.
Yeah, well, Las Vegas would be cool. Now, if NASCAR raced at these the tracks I want to quick mention, Nashville Fairgrounds, that would be a good one. But it's not technically NASCAR Cup yet and stuff, so it's all getting worked out that they all have to do. I was going to say Wilkesboro, but they have so many bumps and potholes still left over that they left there.
On them.
Because even the Cup cars were bouncing up and down. You can't do that in an Indy car. So, what are your 5 tracks you'd like to see?
So, I have, and I hope they don't run here. I have Miami Homestead.
Yeah, I thought about that one too.
A fun track. And IndyCar used to run here, Michigan.
Yep, I actually thought about that one too because they were racing.
Roger Penske owns the track, whole deal. So the next one I have, neither series run here, Rockingham.
Oh, that'd be good. Well, but I think Rockingham it's traditionally a rough track though. Yeah,
well, the next one ain't going to get any smoother. IndyCar used to run here, no longer does. Pocono.
Yeah, that's always. I like the one that was recently just removed. So like.
Yeah, Pocono went through all that and ground the track and made it smooth, and the Indy cars were fast.
Yeah.
So and the last one I have is the same one as yours. I'd like to see them come back to Phoenix. That's just a fun track with the interesting shape.
Especially the way they reconfigure, and they can actually, at least they used to be able to change the dog leg I think they did change the dog leg for the IndyCar races, how it all.
Oh, did they really?
I don't know how it was changed, if they made it more narrow, whatever. I'd like to see them try to go 5-6 wide on the starts here. That'd be pretty wild seeing that. And you can't bump, but you'd see almost what we saw this last week. I think that does it for this week. So drop in the comments where tracks you'd like to see IndyCar go to or return to. Ovals mainly, but like we mentioned, the Roval I think will be a pretty fun race for them to go to. So if there's tracks that we're missing that NASCAR races on, let us know. If they made Bowman Gray, I think it's probably too small for these IndyCars.
That's I don't know, quarter mile or something like that.
Yeah, that's tiny. But
what the hell? Throw them on dirt.
No. That would not end well.
Think of the Springfield Mile.
Yeah. All right. Well, just let us know what you guys think as well. Drop it in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you share it. Follow anywhere you get your podcasts, and follow anywhere you get your social medias. And until next week, we will discuss the chaos that will definitely be ensuing at Daytona. So we'll see you guys then.
All right. Bye.